You know that feeling when your entire world collapses in a single moment? When everything you thought was real turns out to be a lie. Yeah, I lived that nightmare. And trust me, what happened next was something I never could have predicted. My name is Michael, and this is the story of how I caught my wife cheating with my best friend. And their reaction? It was absolutely insane. Before we get into this, I need you to understand something. I'm not the kind of guy who jumps to conclusions. I'm not paranoid. I trusted these people with my life. And that's exactly what made this betrayal so devastating. Let me paint you a picture of my life before everything fell apart. I've been married to Sarah for 6 years. We met in college, fell in love hard and fast, and got married 2 years after graduation. She was everything I ever wanted. Smart, beautiful, funny, and we just clicked. You know those couples that everyone says are relationship goals? That was us. And then there was Jake, my best friend since high school. We did everything together. He was the best man at my wedding. He was there when I got my first job. When Sarah and I bought our house, Jake helped us move in. He was family. More than family, actually, because I chose him. The three of us hung out all the time. Game nights every Friday. Barbecues in the summer. We'd go on vacation together. Sarah and Jake got along great, which honestly made me happy. I loved that my wife and my best friend were friends too. Looking back now, I realize how blind I was. How stupid. For about 3 months before I caught them, I started noticing small things. Nothing major, just little weird moments that didn't quite add up. Sarah started going to the gym more often. She'd always been into fitness, but suddenly she was going 5, 6 times a week. And she'd come home glowing, energized, in a way that seemed off. Jake started texting me less. We used to message constantly, stupid memes, sports commentary, random thoughts. But it slowed down. When we did hang out, he seemed distracted. Checked his phone constantly. And Sarah? She became protective of her phone. She'd always just leave it on the counter, face up, didn't care who saw her notifications. But now she'd take it everywhere. Bathroom, kitchen, even just to grab something from another room. I told myself I was being paranoid. I trusted them. Both of them. Completely. God, I was an idiot. The day I found out was supposed to be normal. Just another Tuesday. I worked from home that day because I had a dentist appointment in the afternoon. I finished up around 2 p.m. and decided to surprise Sarah at her office with coffee. She'd been stressed about a big project, and I thought it would be a nice gesture. I stopped at her favorite coffee shop, got her usual caramel latte, and headed to her office building downtown. That's when I saw Jake's car in the parking garage. Now, Jake worked on the complete opposite side of town. There was absolutely no reason for him to be anywhere near Sarah's office. My stomach dropped, but I tried to rationalize it. Maybe he had a meeting nearby. Maybe it was a coincidence. I called Sarah. No answer. Called Jake. Straight to voicemail. Something felt wrong. Really wrong. I went up to Sarah's floor. Her assistant, Kelly, looked surprised to see me. "Oh, hey Michael." Sarah actually stepped out about an hour ago. Said she had an off-site meeting. An off-site meeting. But her car was still in the garage. I'd seen it. My hands started shaking. I thanked Kelly and left, my mind racing. I sat in my car for 20 minutes trying to figure out what to do. Part of me wanted to leave, to trust my wife, to believe there was a reasonable explanation. But that nagging feeling in my gut wouldn't go away. I decided to check our house. The 15-minute drive felt like hours. I kept trying to call Sarah. No answer. Tried Jake. Nothing. When I pulled up to our house, I saw Jake's car parked 2 houses down. Not in our driveway. Not in front of our house. 2 houses down, like he was trying to hide it. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. My hands were trembling as I unlocked the front door as quietly as possible. The house was quiet. Too quiet. And then I heard it. From upstairs. From our bedroom. Voices. Laughter. Sarah's laugh. Jake's voice. I stood at the bottom of the stairs, frozen. Part of me wanted to turn around and leave. To unsee what I was about to see. But I couldn't. I had to know. I walked up those stairs like I was walking to my own execution. Our bedroom door was slightly open, and what I saw through that crack destroyed me. Sarah and Jake. In our bed. The bed Sarah and I shared. The bed we'd picked out together. The bed where we talked about our future, our dreams, our plans for kids someday. They didn't see me. They were too wrapped up in each other. I stood there for what felt like an eternity but was probably only 10 seconds. Every emotion you can imagine flooded through me at once. Rage, heartbreak, betrayal, disbelief. And then I opened the door. The look on their faces when they saw me was something I'll never forget. Sarah screamed. Actually screamed. She grabbed the sheets and pulled them up. Like that somehow made it better. Jake? Jake just froze. His face went completely white, mouth hanging open like a fish. For a few seconds, nobody said anything. We all just stared at each other in this horrible, surreal moment. Then Sarah started crying. Michael, this isn't... We didn't. And that's when I lost it. You didn't what, Sarah? You didn't sleep with my best friend in our bed? Because that's exactly what I'm looking at right now. Jake finally found his voice. Dude, I am so sorry. Don't you dare call me dude right now. Don't you dare act like we're still friends after this. I expected them to be ashamed, apologetic, remorseful. But what happened next? That's the insane part. Sarah stopped crying. Her whole demeanor changed. She looked at me with this cold expression I'd never seen before and said, You know what, Michael? I'm not going to apologize. I literally couldn't believe what I was hearing. Excuse me? You heard me. I'm not going to apologize. Do you have any idea how long I've been unhappy? How long I've felt ignored and taken for granted? Jake started trying to calm her down. Sarah, maybe we should. But she cut him off. No, Jake. He needs to hear this. Michael, you've been emotionally checked out of this marriage for over a year. You work constantly. You never want to go out anymore. You stopped making an effort. I was absolutely stunned. So your solution was to sleep with my best friend? In our house? In our bed? And then Jake, this guy I'd known for 15 years, this guy I trusted with everything, said something that made my blood boil. Look, man, we didn't plan for this to happen. It just did. Sarah and I connected on a level that, honestly, you two never had. We're in love. In love. They were in love. How long? I asked, my voice shaking. How long has this been going on? Sarah and Jake looked at each other. Some kind of silent communication passed between them. 8 months, Sarah finally said. 8 months. Not a one-time mistake. Not a drunken hookup. 8 months of lying. 8 months of sneaking around. 8 months of me being the idiot who trusted them. Every time we hung out together, I said slowly, the realization hitting me. Every time we had game night, every barbecue, every vacation. You two were. Yes, Sarah said simply. No shame. No remorse. Just, yes. Jake had the audacity to say, we felt terrible about it, but we couldn't help how we felt. Couldn't help how they felt. As if that justified anything. But here's where it gets truly insane. Sarah stood up, still holding the sheet around herself, and said, I want a divorce, and Jake and I are moving in together. They'd already planned this. They'd already discussed their future together. While I was going to work every day, thinking everything was fine, they were planning their life together. Moving in together? I repeated. You're already planning to move in together? Jake actually had the nerve to look annoyed. Look, we know this is hard for you to hear, but Sarah and I are serious about this. We love each other. And honestly, it's probably better that you found out now rather than us having to tell you. Better that I found out by walking in on them. Better. Get out, I said quietly. Michael, Sarah started. Get out. Both of you. Get out of my house right now. Sarah started gathering her clothes, still crying but now with this defiant edge to it. This is my house too, Michael. Legally, I have every right to be here. And that's when Jake said the most insane thing of all. Actually, buddy, maybe you should leave. Sarah's pretty upset. And I think it's best if I stay here with her tonight to make sure she's okay. The audacity. The sheer Unbelievable audacity of this man telling me to leave my own house so he could comfort the wife who was cheating on me with him. I laughed. I actually laughed. Not because it was funny, but because the situation was so absurd I didn't know how else to react. You want me to leave my own house so you can stay with my wife? Jake crossed his arms. I'm just saying, emotions are running high, and I cut him off. You have 5 minutes to get dressed and get out of here before I call the police and have you removed for trespassing. You can't do that, Sarah said. I pulled out my phone and started dialing. That finally got them moving. They got dressed in record time, but even as they were leaving, they had the audacity to be annoyed with me, like I was the unreasonable one. As Jake walked past me, he actually said, "You know, you're taking this way harder than you need to. People fall out of love. It happens. You should try to be mature about this." I should be mature. I should be mature about finding my wife in bed with my best friend. Sarah grabbed some clothes and her laptop. As she was walking out, she turned to me and said, "I'll be back tomorrow with Jake to get more of my things. Please don't make this harder than it needs to be." And then they left. Together. They got into Jake's car and drove off. Together. I stood in my doorway watching them leave, feeling like I was in some kind of nightmare I couldn't wake up from. The first thing I did after they left was call my brother, David. I could barely get the words out through the rage and heartbreak, but I managed to tell him what happened. David was at my house within 30 minutes. He's always been protective of me, and when I told him about Jake's comment about me leaving my own house, I thought he was going to explode. "They said what?" he kept repeating. "Who do these people think they are?" That night was a blur. David helped me change the locks on the house. I know Sarah said she had a legal right to be there, but I didn't care. This was my house before we got married. My name was on the deed. She could lawyer up if she wanted to, but I wasn't making this easy for her. I also called a divorce attorney first thing the next morning. A friend from college who specialized in divorce law. When I told her the story, she was shocked. "They admitted to an 8-month affair and then asked you to leave?" she said. "And he called you buddy?" "Michael, I've been doing this for 10 years, and this is one of the most blatant cases of infidelity I've ever heard. We're going to bury them in court." She told me to document everything. Save any texts or emails. Write down exactly what happened and what was said. Get testimony from witnesses if possible. I spent the next few days in a fog. Couldn't eat. Couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw them in our bed. Heard Sarah's cold voice saying she wasn't going to apologize. Heard Jake calling me buddy, like we were still friends. Word got around fast. Our mutual friends started reaching out. Most of them were horrified. Some of them weren't even surprised, which hurt in a different way. Had everyone seen this coming except me? One of Sarah's friends, Melissa, actually called to tell me that Sarah and Jake had been flirting for over a year before anything physical happened. That everyone in their friend group had noticed the chemistry between them but didn't want to say anything because they thought it was harmless. Harmless. Jake's girlfriend of 2 years, Amy, found out around the same time I did. Apparently, Jake had broken up with her via text the day after I caught them. Told her he'd found someone else and it was serious. Didn't even have the decency to do it in person. Amy and I met for coffee. We commiserated. Shared our stories. It was weirdly therapeutic to talk to someone who understood exactly what I was going through. She told me that she'd noticed Jake being distant for months, but trusted him when he said he was just stressed about work. She felt like an idiot too. "The worst part," she said, "is that he introduced me to Sarah. I thought she was so nice. We hung out multiple times. She looked me in the eye and smiled while she was sleeping with my boyfriend behind my back. The betrayal went so much deeper than just the affair. It was all the lies. All the times they hung out with us while carrying on their secret relationship. All the times they acted like everything was normal. 3 days after I caught them, Sarah texted me asking if she could come by to get her things. She said Jake would come with her for support. I told her she had 1 hour and Jake was not welcome in my house. She showed up with Jake anyway. When I opened the door and saw him standing there, I almost slammed it in their faces. But I kept my cool. I said Jake couldn't come. I told Sarah. And I said I needed support. You can't dictate who I bring to collect my own belongings. My brother David was there with me, thank God, because I don't know if I could have handled it alone. As Sarah started packing her things, Jake had the audacity to try to make small talk. So, how have you been holding up? He asked. I stared at him in disbelief. How do you think I'm holding up, Jake? Look, I know this is awkward, but we're all adults here. Eventually, we're gonna have to figure out how to be civil with each other. Civil, he wanted civility. We're never going to be civil, I said. We're never going to be anything. You and I are done. Permanently. Jake actually looked offended. Come on, man. I know you're hurt, but don't you think you're being a little dramatic? Sarah and I fell in love. It's not like we set out to hurt you. David stepped between us before I could respond. I think you need to wait in the car, he told Jake. I'm not going anywhere. Sarah needs me. That's when Sarah came down the stairs with a box of her things and said something that still makes my blood boil. Michael, Jake and I are planning to get married. Soon, actually. And we want to do this right, which means eventually, we're going to have to all sit down and talk about this like adults. You can't avoid us forever. We have mutual friends. We move in the same circles. They wanted me to be okay with this. They wanted me to accept their relationship. They wanted me to smile and nod and be happy for them. I finally snapped. You want to know what I think? I said, my voice shaking with rage. I think you're both terrible people. I think what you did was cruel and selfish and unforgivable. And I think you deserve each other, because you're perfect together. Two cheaters who betrayed everyone who cared about them. Sarah's face turned red. You know what your problem is, Michael? You can't handle that I chose someone else. You can't handle that Jake makes me happier than you ever did. Get your stuff and get out of my house. And don't ever come back. They left, finally. But not before Jake turned to me and said, one day you'll thank us for this. You'll find someone who actually appreciates you, and you'll realize this was for the best. The best. Finding my wife in bed with my best friend was for the best. That was 6 months ago. The divorce is almost finalized. My lawyer was right. It's been easy given the circumstances. Sarah gets nothing beyond what she came into the marriage with. No alimony. No claim to the house. She actually tried to argue for some of it, but her own lawyer told her she didn't have a leg to stand on. I heard through the grapevine that Sarah and Jake did get engaged. Apparently, the engagement party was super awkward because half the people they invited declined or just didn't show up. Turns out, when you build a relationship on betrayal, people don't exactly want to celebrate it. Jake lost his job. Not directly because of the affair, but word got around his office and apparently, his boss didn't appreciate the situation. He works somewhere else now, making significantly less money. Sarah's been trying to reach out to old friends, but most of them have distanced themselves from her. Melissa told me that Sarah actually complained to her that people were taking sides, and it wasn't fair. Not fair. The woman who cheated on her husband for 8 months thinks it's not fair that people don't want to be friends with her anymore. As for me, I'm doing better. Not great, but better. I started therapy, worked through a lot of trust issues and anger, started focusing on myself, hit the gym, picked up old hobbies I'd let slide, reconnected with friends I'd lost touch with. And yeah, I'm dating again. Nothing serious yet, but I'm open to it. I'm not going to let what Sarah and Jake did turn me into a bitter, closed-off person. Do I still think about it? Every day. Do I still get angry? Absolutely. But I'm working on it. The weirdest part is that sometimes I feel grateful. Not for what happened, but for finding out when I did. Imagine if I'd found out after we had kids. Imagine if they'd kept this going for years. At least now I'm free. Free from a wife who didn't respect me. Free from a best friend who betrayed me. Free to build a better life with people who actually deserve my trust. So if you're going through something similar, here's what I want you to know. It gets better. It really does. The pain doesn't go away overnight, but it fades. The anger becomes manageable. And eventually you realize that you're better off without people who could treat you that way. Because here's the truth. People who truly love you don't cheat on you. People who truly value your friendship don't betray you. And anyone who can look you in the eye and tell you that their betrayal was somehow your fault or for the best. They're not worth your time. Sarah and Jake thought they were in love. Maybe they are. But a relationship built on lies and betrayal? That's not love. That's just two selfish people who deserve exactly what they get. And me? I'm gonna be just fine. Better than fine, actually. Because I'm free.